Duperas y Duperas, today on Doop by the River, it's the Union bye week. We got a little summer international break bye week, and you guys should definitely be enjoying that. Today we're going to be looking back at that San Jose match, and we're going to discuss the Union as they're heading into this bye week. Don't you dare go anywhere, because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. And let's get it started, guys. Done!
Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadephia Union. And, of course, we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, I want to welcome everyone in, whether you're watching in live from El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel, or if you're watching live on Doop by the River's Twitter account, or if you're listening on Doop by the River's podcast. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe here on the YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and, of course, subscribe to us wherever you stream podcasts under Doop by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me today, my expert in duping, surviving all the craziness in Philadelphia, including 95 implosions. Please welcome Justin, sporting serotonin keeper Friedberg. Justin, my buddy, how you feeling, brother? What's going on, man?
Pretty good. You know, I know. I'm sure people in the last few weeks have seen a rare occurrence, me not being on the pod. I know that's my schedule this time of the year does get a little crazy. So unfortunately, I could not make it. But hey, yeah, I have survived a semifinal playoff game of which we won. We are once again sporting territory and fighting for promotion. If y'all are in the area on Saturday, 11:15 at James Ramp Memorial Field in Philadelphia, we will be playing a team we're pretty familiar with. And so if y'all want to come out and cheer us on, go right ahead. We always love the support. And yeah, surviving the craziness that's been since the unfortunate 95 implosion. And yeah, just trying to figure out how I'm going to survive tonight. After this recording, I will be on my way to the city to watch USA play Mexico because they had to play in Las Vegas, so the game had to be late because, of course. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting weekend. So I am ready to be soccered out this weekend.
No, absolutely, man. Well, of course, first off, Doop by River always supporting sport and serotonin. So up to sporting. So definitely make sure, if you guys have nothing to do, check it out, guys. You know, we always say it's about the soccer community and supporting a great club and what they're doing over Sporting Serotonin. Please do definitely.
And you might see another Doop by the River co-host, and Mr. Zach Labasso was actually played one of his first games. He hasn't made too many games this season. Was able to make it out for the semifinal. Had some pretty solid contributions out there, and
I'm sure
if all ready, should be ready for the final. So come out and support a few members of Doop by the River.
Hell yeah, man! I definitely love that. Yo, this 95 thing though is wild, Justin. Like I've never have seen anything like this in Philly. Like for those who are outside of Philadelphia listening to this, like 95 is so important for travelers throughout Philadelphia, connecting like the great northeast of Pennsylvania, I guess like outside of Philadelphia to the center city and so on and so forth. And for this to happen, it is pretty damn crazy, man. So I guess the question we have to ask now, Justin, you know very well construction on highways in Philadelphia. They're not the quickest, you know, they take a little bit. So the question is, Justin, you know, our beautiful sports complex that we're building down in Chester, will that get built before 95's recovery, man?
I mean, I want to say no, because like 95 is a little more important. I don't think in our lifetime we've ever seen a major highway implode. Although I don't know if you saw the the dude who lives right near there, they interviewed. Like, when I tell you, this dude was unironically like the most Philadephia I've ever seen. Like, more than Saybert, that TikToker. Like, this guy
Yeah.
was just like, what was the man? He's like, the Birds lost the Super Bowl, the Phillies lost the World Series, and we lose our highways, and it's like, it was just so much most Philadelphia. If you didn't know anything about Philadelphia, and you told someone about Northeast Philly, and you showed them this clip, which I highly recommend our listeners tune on. Pause if you're listening to the recording afterwards. Find this interview. This man is like the most Philadelphia you could ever possibly. He is Northeast Philly in kind of a nutshell. But yeah, I mean the expectation would be that 95 is it. From what I've heard, they want to backfill it enough to supports back.
Yeah.
And then actually like they want us to get it supported enough so that traffic can continue, and then work on actually really fixing it. So
yeah, man,
we'll see, because I mean, like, especially for people north of that Cotman Ave exit, Ben Salem folks, like,
yeah, dude,
a lot of that north of the city,
Croydon, all that shit, man.
Oh my, that's just it definitely inconveniences things, and it's obviously unfortunate thoughts and prayers with the family members, the family of the truck driver. That was unfortunately the cause of it. That's not something you ever want to wake up and in here, but it's I mean, this area, like, I honestly can't think of a single piece of like traffic affecting anything that ever has affected this city as much as this has, especially in this past week. It's been, I think people were just like, people said it would take a few days for the city to kind of feel the effects, and you saw it by like Tuesday. You kind of saw what was kind of shaking out, and people aren't happy. Like, I've seen a number of people frustrated. Like, if you're on Route 73 and you've seen like around rush hour, like for me coming home, it's nuts. Any of the major roads, 38, 70, 73, 130, like it's just nuts.
It makes the Schuylkill look like it's nothing.
And the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure like the Schuylkill is one of the roads that's like not as affected. Like,
I know,
which is wild.
It is absolutely wild. I do listen, for real. Like, thoughts and prayers go out to that truck driver. Like, I am also like happy not a lot of people got hurt as well, because when I hear explosion on 95, like, especially like in the afternoon time on a Saturday, it's almost bumper to bumper. So I'm definitely happy with that. And also too, Justin, like, for all our fans that are coming from Northeast going down to Chester, dude, that's going to be a pain in the butt, man. For everyone not going to work and whatnot. But hey, thoughts and prayers for that for sure, man. But it was a crazy. Luckily, the Union were in San Jose this past weekend, which we will get to in just a second. I need to bring this up because it's soccer related, and it's because something you and I both enjoy. Everyone in the soccer community enjoys. I just finished Ted Lasso, Justin. I'm not the same. I'll tell you that right now. I am not the same. Just like the thing about this show is that, number one, like, I know what Jim said about the character, but like, this show brought so many eyes to our sport. Like, you got Americans who don't watch sport, like, actually liking soccer, but more importantly, like, you don't even have to like soccer to like this show. It is just valuable lessons on a day-to-day basis that you could just take. Just be a good person. It's not that hard, man. But dude, I'm a little upset that Ted Lasso is done, man. Did you finish it yet?
So I did finish it. I was an emotional wreck during the last episode.
Dude, I was emotional wreck the last 5 episodes.
I will say, though, officially, they have not confirmed that is the series finale.
I don't think it's over
because of the way that interviews have shaken out. It's clear listen, Jason Sudeikis was writing himself off the show. Like that much. Jason Sudeikis might be done with the show. But in whatever form, whether it's a spin-off or they continue, this show, like it seems like everyone else wants the show to continue. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but the way the show sets up after the season, you have a number of plot lines that can still be explored and move things forward. So, like, I would like to think that the show will continue. And again, no official word from Apple, from you, like Jason Sudeikis is the only one who's like, yeah, it's over. And it's like,
They did leave that like really cryptic like tweet. Like it's got it's I don't know if you saw the picture with like Nate, Roy, and Beard, and they're like, this has got potential, or there's potential here, like something like that.
It's like like the way they were setting up Roy to become coach, and like Nate's redemption arc is not like I still have mixed feeling about that. I don't know. It was a weird turn.
Yeah,
like
all of a sudden he's got like he's
I don't
back
know,
to
like
sweet Nate. Like
maybe that was just a break of consciousness for imposter syndrome. I don't know. But it definitely sets itself up. Like there's a lot of storylines that definitely are pretty
Keely, the women's team.
Oh my
Keely
god, that was a
Rebecca
huge. That was it. I feel like then like
it's been a whole other show, dude. With that,
I mean, especially the fact that you've already like you pull out coaches and former players. Like I feel like you're tapping into like if you tap into the women's game, there's so many players that are like, if you watch social media on how like just charismatics most of the women's soccer players are, you absolutely can find people who would get in there as cameos on other teams. Like there's a number of players I'm sure you could easily convince. So like I said, yeah, there's plenty of potential for spinoffs.
Dude, it'll never be a show like Ted Lasso, man. It's freaking remarkable, and the fact that they got Ted with the dunks now, like Jimmy Boy, it's pretty funny.
And I will say I'm not sure if it was a stunt double or not, but if that was Jason Sudeikis dancing, shoot, that was some damn fine moves.
When we win the cup, and I'm saying when we win the cup, I want to see Jim bust out the most mainline dancers could ever see.
Watch, Jim will break out a stanky leg.
Hey,
that's where he'll really throw that back.
I just don't want the dialer, man. The dialer, like the taking off the clothes, like I'm still scarred from that. Man.
That's because that man is like weirdly flabby, but not like as a big man myself. He's not even flabby. It's just no, like that's a man that definitely also was very pale. Like
yeah, man,
a lot of paleness too.
Especially on that rainy, that wasn't rainy, but like there was precipitation that day in Portland. But I'm glad you brought up NYCFC because something was brought to my attention that I wanted to talk to you about. Obviously, UCL happens, Man City completes a treble, which I'm not rubbing in your face, Justin. I know it pains you to hear what Man City did.
I mean, hey, Man U has a treble, so it's not like
that's true.
I mean,
that is true.
You can't really hold it over them anymore, but we still have one.
That is true. So I'm gonna be blunt with this question. You ever think like a coach of the caliber as Pep would ever consider managing over here? Like not even Pep, like Jose, someone like that, Conte. Would he ever come here?
Yeah, I feel like that's not crazy to think about. I mean,
what would be the lure though? Like obviously money, right? But like how? Like
I feel like a new challenge. Like I mean, we've been talking about like the lore of like, like the national team, like, as US kicks off tonight. You've had Patrick Vieira express interest in the job.
I saw that.
Greg Berhalter's still, I don't know if he's in the mix, but
seems like the dressing room wants him too, man.
Well, I think publicly, like it's not fully everybody, but like publicly, you can't be like, oh no, he was shit. Like you're not going to say that in public. Although he fucking pulled his name out of the Club America job. Like I'm sorry, but because he thinks he's still like, I'm sorry, but if I were Greg Berhalter,
I'd be sick, dude. American managing Club America.
Yeah, like
sick.
That's like I don't know why. Like that's a pretty prestigious job. Like that is like the amount of money that you have to play with.
But that would be so monumental, Justin. Like breaking down that barrier in American coaching Liga MX, dude. That'd be huge.
Would be huge. So I don't know why he's turning where he's pulled his name out until obviously they named somebody, which won't be after the Gold Cup. But I don't know. I think you look at guys like Mourinho and Pep and Conte and Ancelotti, who is rumored to be talking about maybe Brazil. I think there's just an appeal. Like it's growing. The World Cup's here in 2026. The sport in this country is growing bigger than anyone has imagined. I mean, I know people. I know the marketing stunt of it all is kind of being a little annoying, even though he hasn't officially signed here. But like Lionel Messi coming here is kind of like. Then you have maybe Sergio Busquets. Jordi Alba is considering things.
Suarez.
Like, yeah, like the amount of players. Like, you're starting to see that pull, and it's the domino effect. Like Beckham, back in 2007 was the first big one. You had like Thierry Henry and Zlatan, and like Messi is the next massive domino to fall, and I think. You'll start to see that with coaches too. Yeah. Because like I feel like at a certain point, like I think looking at someone like Pep, prime example Pep, he's done everything you could want to do in Europe.
What else do you need?
And so like, and I feel like he's one where, like a lot of time with European coaches coming here, they don't respect the league and they quickly learn either you adapt because the league is tougher for a number of reasons, or you fall by the wayside and you're gone within a year and a half.
Like we've had the rock star players, like you mentioned, but we've never gone after those rock star men. I feel like
could you imagine Mourinho running down the sidelines of Providence Park? I was like coach of like the Seattle Sounders and flipping off the Timbers Army, or like doing the same shit he did when Inter beat Barcelona in the Champions League and rubbing it in their face. Like that's the kind of shit. Like I know it's cheesy, and I know it's
special one.
But like I know it's cheesy, and I know it is like a bit gimmicky. But like, listen, this league tries to do it on like the rivalry week, and when and all these coaches and I think having a coach of this kind of personality is like, could you imagine Conte losing his shit in Chester, like on the sideline, just completely going ballistic and so like
starts fighting with Jim Curry?
Yeah, like we saw that with Gabriel Heinze and like
that jerk off, man.
Or like we saw with Jesse Marsh. I remember Jesse Marsh. That I still have the picture.
Wait, you were at that match?
When Jesse Marsh slammed, when he got the red card, he slammed the ball in midfield and he was walking off. And you see me in the background flipping him off, like because he's showing the river end from behind him, and there's a number of people, and you could see me like clear as day there. I'm
Screw
like,
you, Jesse.
I would love to tell Jose where to stick it. I also be like, that's fucking Jose Mourinho coaching the MLS. Like, I think that's the kind of thing that like the players were really the first step. It'll be interesting to see because like again, like Jose and Pep have both done everything you can basically want to do in a lot of the major leagues in Europe. We've both won European competitions. If I'm them, like you're a known name over here, but this is another area of the world to try to dominate, right? Like that to me, that seemed like, hey, I'm dominant in Europe. Why not try to come to America and make essentially a name for yourself?
Absolutely. What's up, Jose? What's going on, brother? Problem is that coaches don't need a retirement league, puts us in quotations.
They don't need it, but
Players do.
listen, I would love to tell Jose where to stick it if he's walking by the river end. Love to tell Pep, love to tell Carlo, although I feel like Carlo, if you want to become the next coach of the Union when Jim Curtin becomes coach of the U.S. men's national team, I think we can work that out because I think listen, Carlo Ancelotti would bring a type of class. I know Jim has brought the drip, but Carlo with the suits and the cigars, man, that is a level of like class and excellence that I don't know if Philadelphia is ready for. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if Philadelphia is truly ready
like
for that
LA.
kind of
He's
refined,
maybe even
charisma.
Chicago.
Just, God, could you imagine that Carlo coaching here? Listen, I'm gonna make we're gonna start campaigning. Going to be hashtag Ancelotti to the Union. I'm here for it right now. Let's go.
Ancelotti's just eating cheesesteaks. With the sovereign wealth from the Middle East, would you take 50 times your salary or coach at Chester? Generational wealth is tempting.
Yeah, I mean, like,
think more about the challenge here. Like I think back to I don't mean to cross sports, but I remember like Bill Walsh, right? Bill Walsh done with San Francisco after a while, decides to take a job at Stanford. Why would Bill Walsh take a job at Stanford? He's a coach. He's a competitor, and he wanted a new challenge. And sometimes these type of managers just want a different challenge.
And that's the thing. Like looking at oh, why didn't Messi take the Benzema or Conte payment? It's like, well, one, he doesn't need the money. And well, two, also you had the house in Miami, the commercial opportunities were probably better here, but also listen, I know we talk about morals when it comes to turning down that kind of money, given where the money sometimes comes from. But sometimes when that kind of money is being tossed around, it's kind of tough to get on your moral high horse and be like, I'm going to turn down $200 million a year.
Dude, I think Conte just bought a third division Belgium team with his new deal. I get it, man.
And I get it, but I also think again, it's we talked about it. It's that challenge. It's looking at this as an opportunity to. I mean, coaches are just as much of a brand as a. Oh Lord!
So Jose goes.
Listen, those image rights that's kind of part of what they have to do.
So Jose's comment is: did you see the Benzema ads today promoting travel to the Middle East? It's a quick use of his image, man. Listen, those guys are already profiting over there, man. It is definitely interesting. But let's get real quick to the Union, and we'll talk some more. I love these bye-week ones. We get to talk about some nonsensical stuff that we piques our interest. But Justin, let us bring up real quick our last matchup here. This past Saturday, a late one again in San Jose, California. The Union fall to the Earthquakes. That does unfortunately snap the 9-game unbeaten streak that they did have. But the lineups for this matchup, again, the 3-4-1-2 was back. It was the same three in the back. Glazis, Elliott, Lowe. Sorry, Blake and goal, of course. You had Harriel and Wagner as your wing midfielders. No El Brujo Martinez. Jesus Bueno got the start with Leon Flock. Gazak at the 10. Ure and Carranza were your two forwards for this matchup. And look, I give credit for San Jose. They came ready to play. They drew first blood in the 8th minute. Abosi. Listen, San Jose on this one does a great job of transition. Abosi was able to trail back. Union couldn't account for him, and right at the tip of the box, man, he just hit a nice low shot. 1-0 Union. I'm sorry, 1-0 Quakes. A couple minutes later, off of a corner kick, Union doing a great job again off the set piece. Damian Lowe destroys the ball back in the net, gets it right past Daniel, and it's a 1-1 match. Unfortunately, the difference was in the 57th minute. It was a nice shot. Druco gets a nice shot right outside the box. Not much Blake can do there as he watches it go by him. And that was really it. The Union were pushing, were attacking, doing through the whole kitchen sink. San Jose sat back, trying to get all 3 points. They were successful as the final score would end at 2-1. Justin, I think for me personally, like, yeah, it was frustrating not being able to get the goal the last couple minutes, but it's we talk about it all the time. It's tough to get results in this league. You give credit to San Jose, who are undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, in PayPal Park. And we just didn't have it. And that happens. Like, you couldn't get that last goal. I think in another situation you will be able to get that goal. But how about you, man? How'd you feel about that one?
Yeah, I stupidly stayed up to watch this game because I was like, oh, there's no way I'll be up for it, and I'm like, it's like 11:30, and I'm on Discord chat with some friends. I'm like, why the fuck am I up right now? You know what? I was saying this for a while. I didn't sounds bad. I didn't care about the result of this game. Like, a draw would have been nice. A win would be nice. But like, you still finished the week third. Like, even with New England's result, you weren't gonna drop below fourth at any point. There wasn't like my biggest concern is Damian Lowe's hamstring. He scores a goal and then gets hurt. As Jim says, he hurt a pop.
Pretty sure he got called up too, man, to Jamaica.
Well, he would have been. I think
I see
due to injuries being held out, at least for the moment. I think if you make it past to the knockout stages, you can call someone in. So if he's healthy enough, I'm sure they may. Okay. But I think, I would have cared more if this was a home game or it was close, like an East Coast. But road trip, San Jose is not a joke this year. I mean, Lucci has got them playing well.
Yes, sir.
Like, Bobasi has been playing well. Jamiro, obviously, like, he had a decent game. Espinoza was weirdly quiet. That's the person I really would have been worried about, and I really didn't hear his name called much during that game. He seemed kind of out of it. The Union did have some decent chances. We talked about it. Man, Carranza could score a curler, but what is it with him and inside the box leaning back?
That's another from Bueno.
Another one of those. Oh. That is a fit. That is a gimme. He had two of it like that, where it's like, man, like,
dude, Bueno couldn't put that perfectly for Carranza.
It's like there's a couple of them. You're just like Julian, like, come on, like,
and that's the difference, man.
That is at the end of the day, that was the difference. The Union, when Jag McGlynn came on, obviously the formation shifted again. You did see, I mean, they had some solid chances when Jack came on. They kind of controlled a lot of the game after that point. But I think looking at it, it was something where I think Jim was just, I mean, obviously after the Lowe injury, I think you're kind of just looking at that going, let's not risk anything further. Like, let's not push it. I think if you were pushing for 3 points, you probably would have kept the back three and thrown Brandon Craig in there, which I know he was warming up, but I think it was the smart call. We talked about it in our chat. It was a smart call
to bring that up,
not doing that, because I think, God forbid, Brandon Craig then get I think risk going back to that back three, and listen, Brandon Craig has played in the back three. He did it in the U20s, but I just don't think that's something you want to do. You want to test out against San Jose on the road, and in a game where you have a week and a half before your next game. I think that's something you don't really want to just start testing willy-nilly at this point in the season.
No, you did bring up really good points. And I like I told you, I always appreciate you bringing me down to earth with the patience, man. Because sometimes I do need that.
I gotta be. It's been weird that I've been the voice of reason this season. I know I'm usually the tactics and somewhat of a level comp, but I've been doing it more frequently, and I'm like, this feels weird.
Yeah, for sure. My thing has been yes, I would have wanted to see him there. I always feel like those type of situations, that's when you really find out about a young player. And Jim has done that before. He did it with Brujo in LA. He did it with Brennan down in Atlanta, and both times it worked well. I agree with you, but to a certain point, I'm like, so okay, when are we going to see Craig in an MLS match? because when I see him in spring training, when I see him with the U20, the dude looks like he knows what he's doing. And so that's like why like I kind of want to see something. I personally like I know Glez has got the extension recently, but dude, he's consistently been the best, or if not one of the best center backs that we have in this league. Like I don't know how much longer that we can hold off to that. But also too, we keep talking about building the homegrowns, and that's someone that one of the homegrowns I do want to see more for. So it definitely is interesting. I get why you bring McGlynn in there, but at some point, like I want Jim to show us what Craig is all about, and that's really where I'm at with that one.
I mean, you do have midweek against Orlando and home against Miami. Like I do feel like if there is a time to kind of experiment, it's in this weird kind of period where like you have a couple of players. You'll have Andre missing due to Gold Cup. You'll have Damian unfortunately out with injury. So like, if the time was to do something, it would generally be in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about Bueno? I saw a lot of a lot of opinions on Bueno after Saturday.
I see why he's staking his claim for the backup position. Like he is Brujo light. Like I feel like if he starts to get more time, because again Brujo's gotten some interest, and we've seen that Leon may not be the person that you want. I mean, he said himself that he's not the 6 in this kind of formation, and I kind of have tended to agree on that lately.
Yeah,
I think Bueno with more time, with some like he's got the box to box, he's got the ability to bring the ball up. His passing range is something still to work on, but so is Brujo's. And he can crash the box and he absolutely loves being that destroyer. So I have liked Bueno getting more and more time. I think as again, as Brujo goes in and out of yellow card accumulation and potentially gets a transfer this winter, if the rumors from last winter were true, I think Bueno would be a pretty good person to slot right in there and kind of take the reins. I mean, we did that. Remember, we did that with Brujo. The idea was supposed to be that Matej Horvat was supposed to come in and take that position. And the LAFC game, Brujo goes through 3 jerseys and part of that game, and like that kind of was the defining game where he kind of staked his claim to that position and he hasn't let go of it. So I think Bueno, given the chances, could potentially do the same.
You know what I noticed about Bueno, Justin? I feel like his soccer IQ is underrated. Like I don't think people notice it enough. We talked about that pass to Carranza, great awareness and realizing he did have some mistakes. That's bound to happen. Listen, that's a solid midfield that they have over in San Jose as well. It's there's a lot of experience on that in that midfield too, and I thought it was great. One player that I did notice, Justin, I think that will be gone out of the league, is not a player on our team. But, dude, Cal, he's not going to be in the MLS. I genuinely don't believe he will be in the MLS much longer, man.
I feel like he'll still have another season. I mean, the U20s could be a way. I mean, we talked about with Paxton, where U20s last year were the main reason he left in the winter. If I were San Jose, I would. I mean, he's still 18. Like, I think he's still very young. I think you give him another year. If some concrete offers come in the winter, yes. But I mean, he's been coming. Like, he really hasn't had like in the past few years. He's been mostly some starts, but mostly off the bench. So like, I think that's one where I could see it, but it would have to be a pretty tempting offer, I think, to kind of pry him away.
They just signed his brother Chance to those dude. Cowboy soccer, man. You see these guys? They have, like, the cowboy boots. That the brother's got like the full blown mullet and everything.
Yeah, like K-Cal, it's like he's from California. Like he's
California's
like,
weird though, bro. Like, it's
there are
not
some of those areas where it's
everything.
like very wild west, and it's just like
Everyone
so
thinks it's like Venice Beach. Like, nah, man. Like, you got some rural. Like,
you got some rural farm, you got some rural forest. Like,
yeah,
just be
man.
glad it's cowboy and not like flannels and craft beer.
I mean, he was giving that with the stash a little bit. It was just a little bit.
Listen, between him and Diego
Tolkien?
Luna,
Okay.
who like I know Diego. I think for me, like looking at Diego Luna, I look at that kid and go, like that reminds me of the movie The Benchwarmers. You know, when it's like I am 12, like Diego Luna does not look like he is under 20 years old. Like maybe it's just the tattoos and the like the haircut's a little odd, but like maybe that's it. I don't know. I can't explain it. He just does not look under 20.
That is pretty funny. Any last thoughts of San Jose before we move on?
I think there's a reason that they're kind of an underrated team in the West, and obviously with the season St. Louis is having and LAFC, you've kind of
Dude, they're panicking in LA, man. It's fire trouble.
I'm loving it. Let me roast my marshmallows over that chaos fire. I think a team like San Jose is kind of flying under the radar, and perfectly so. Like, but again,
it's a good test for sure, man.
If they're in this position, like 5-6, they may not host a game, and I think a team like that would probably thrive more if they can make their way up the standings of hosting a game or two.
Absolutely, man. I wanted to ask you about Kai real quick because it's been a topic of discussion this week. I don't know if you saw the Athletic article, but it kind of seems like this is the final year for Kai here in Philly. So the question I brought up on Twitter that I want to bring up here. Listen, teams have not been wanting to pay what we feel is the value of Kai Wagner. It is what it is, but it's the reason why he's still here. So my question to you, this upcoming summer, would you take the best deal that is there for Kai, or do you play out the rest of the season and do you just allow him to walk?
I think any deal that you do, I feel like you're going to want it to be like the deal with Brendan and deal with Mark where
it stays for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Like I think I know Kai, obviously he wants to go back, and that's why he has not extended the contract to this point. But even he, I feel like, could understand, like, hey, if the team agrees on something, but you just have to stay through the rest of the season, I think even he could understand that. And that would be my hope. And I
do you
feel
think
like
you would, though, at his age? Like, Brandon and Mark were obviously really young, but Kai, not he's like, old. He's a little bit
23,
older.
like 23, 24. Like,
I thought it was like 26.
Are you sure? I thought he was.
No, you could be right, but let me just double check.
Because I feel like he was. He's 26.
Crazy. It's been like 4 seasons.
But he's okay. Like 26. Like if he goes back to Germany or or like I feel like that he's still got plenty of of mileage, and I think waiting until the winter isn't going to kill him. And I also think he wouldn't. I feel like he wouldn't leave his team out in the to dry. And I also feel like the team wouldn't like. You wouldn't sell him, as we talked about. We wouldn't sell him without a replacement, and I don't know if you're going to get that replacement in the summer.
Dude, if we sell him this summer and he's gone, like middle of the season, like I don't like our chances. Because number one, I mean, obviously that depends on who you're gonna have to find a replacement ASAP because no one wants to see Matt Real there on every single match on the left hand side. You're gonna have to find a replacement that's capable of starting match in and match out, and that's obviously not easy to find. But I'm kind of on the track where, listen, dude, players like Kai, whatever they want, I'm giving it to them. They have given us so much. Kai's been so important for what we have been doing over the past couple of years. If there's offers there, I'm giving it. I'm allowing him to go, man. But it is something that the union. That's a tough decision you're gonna have to do, and I'm sure there's gonna be some offers when we'll see. Obviously, this is the period where teams would be more inclined to go buy Kai because it is the off season for these European squads. But it is interesting to see, and we'll see how all that does turn out. I want to knock something out. real quick because I know your answer already. Josie outdoor news here today. Bought out by New England. You taking a flyer as your backup striker?
No, like so they said it well today. I think it was today or yesterday on Golasso Network. Which, if you're not watching Golasso Network on Paramount
Dude,
Plus,
they're killing it, man.
dude, I mean, listen, afternoon footy. Our boy Alexis is, and I don't know if you saw yesterday's afternoon footy when Nico and they had his dad Andres, and they did a goal off. Oh my god, it was like that was wild.
That sounds good, man.
But like, listen, they I think Charlie said it best when he said, Josie has to understand, like, whatever mindset he's been in the past few years with the injuries, and like, he's just not the same physically. And like, listen, it's something like you got to work harder to kind of get back, and you kind of want to get back to that mentality of whatever he was. And he's either got to, I think if he's going to get another job in this league, physically, he just doesn't look the same. Like, he looks bigger, and not in a good way. Like, he just looks slower, doesn't look like he's the same. And I know obviously injuries have taken their toll physically and mentally, but like, we all know what Josie's capable of. We've seen it. I've seen it on a number of stages in a number of leagues. So like any other time I'd say yes, but I would not even remotely take a flyer on him at this point.
Dude, like 4 or 5 years ago, I would have taken Josie. Now, dude, it's just too much. He steps out on that pitch in Subaru Park, man. One step and he's done. His knee's gonna give out again. So it is unfortunate, man, because dude, Josie in his prime was fun to watch, man. When he suited up for the U.S. men's national team,
Josie in his prime had speed and was a finisher.
Physical too, man. Yeah,
physical, could get him behind, could finish home, and could really dominate in the box. Josie's prime was an absolute beast.
Absolute beast, man. We'll see what happens, Josie. Maybe you know what else I can see him like do? Like I can see him like go and playing in like, I don't know, Ecuador, or like
he was on loan in Liga MX last year.
I know.
I thought he did okay.
I can see him doing that. We'll see what's up with Josie. I wanted to get your thoughts real quick on this Wrexham friendly. It's intriguing for sure. Obviously, they're playing U2, which hindsight you would think that's not that intriguing, but this whole like Wrexham phenomenon,
dude.
It is crazy. Like, these people are in love with these. Was it now they're 4th division, right? They moved up to the 4th division.
They're officially in professional football.
And you give credit, like, Ryan and Rob, they've created the buzz, man. So I'm curious to see what the totals will be as far as attendance. I do think it'll be around like 14K. Like, as I think like that popularity for Wrexham is serious. I think even like Union fans have like an intrigue as well. Like, they're curious of what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I got my ticket for it.
Are you going? Okay.
So like, I do find it interesting though. I think Wrexham fans don't seem to understand like, we're not facing your first team because we could beat them. It's like, no, our first team would fucking smoke you guys. We have their first team has a game 2 days before in the Leagues Cup. That's why we're not playing you guys. Like, I mean, listen, they're also playing like Los Dos. They're playing like, I feel like
they better beat the U2 by like 3 goals. And if they're gonna talk like that.
Well, yeah, like I think looking at like the teams that are playing in the U.S., like it's a lot of like you're playing 2 reserve sides. Like, what is that proving? You're gonna be in League 2. Like, what exactly is that proving? Last time I checked, the MLS Next is not the same level as League 2 or League 1. Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I don't know. I got my ticket just because, I mean, a number of people I know are going, and
so it is going to be pretty busy that night.
It'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's like, why not see what's happening? Like,
how many Wrexham kits you think you'll see?
I'd be surprised if there were no. I mean, I don't know. I would be shocked if I saw more than like. I would be shocked if there were a lot.
Well, Rob's bar on Market is now the watch, or it's the Wrexham Club Philly site.
I mean, he's not even in Philly that much. I
You live in Cali, like full time, like
yeah, and like Ryan, I'm pretty sure I know Ryan Reynolds bought a house in Wrexham, and I know he says he spends a lot of time there. But it's like, yeah, Rob doesn't even spend that much time. Like people are like, oh, why is he doing this stuff and not Philly? It's like Rob is a fucking Eagles fan. Like he's a Philly guy, but he's not really a Philly guy anymore. Like that's just
like one thing we need to understand here in Philadelphia, and I'm talking to everybody, like it's okay to get out of the city. Like we don't have to stay here our whole lives. It's okay.
Yeah.
I personally choose to stay here, but it's not a problem to leave here. Real quick, because of the U2, the Darbo situation to LAFC. Could you explain that to people who don't understand? Because how does he go to LAFC?
So you can thank Minnesota for this fucking clusterfuck of a situation. When we signed Darbo to U2 at the time, Minnesota had dissolved their setup. Again, this is before like MLS Next kind of really like it's a whole thing. But unfortunately, they technically still owned his rights or whatever it was. I think that's what it was. So he couldn't sign him. He goes out to Europe, I think goes on some trials. I don't know if anything really stuck. And then because his rights stuck with Minnesota and not us, LAFC just had to pay Minnesota a fee for him to sign him, which I still don't understand that because I mean, I thought that homegrown rights were gone once they dissolved their team in the territory, but like, I guess not. So whatever. The homegrown rules are really fucking complicated and stupid.
So stupid.
Yeah.
And the discovery rate thing, that shit's weird too, man.
Yeah, that part annoys me, but hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, on that note, we'll end with this, man. Obviously, big night for U.S. men's national team fans. USA Mexico, how you feeling about it, man? Dude, USA Mexico is still big.
It's still pretty big. I think I'm definitely more confident than I've been in the past for USA Mexico. I think Mexico, given the run of form they've been in, I think I feel more confident because
where's the match? I'm sorry,
Las Vegas. So it's still probably going to be a pretty heavy pro Mexico crowd. Like it wouldn't Colorado. It's kind of hard outside of like Columbus or Cincinnati for it not to be a predominant Mexican crowd. Listen, I think the only concern that you would have is Chucky Lozano, and I think the U.S. has done a pretty good job of shutting him down when he's the really only dynamic threat. They really don't have a pure goal scoring striker that I'm scared of. Their defense is okay. Memo Ochoa, like,
is he back yet? From
Salernitana? Yeah, he's still he single-handedly kept them up.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, he was a big part of them staying up. I mean, I don't think he'll ever give up the gloves. It just feels kind of tough to see. Like this game obviously needs more for Mexico, but the way the U.S. is, I have a tough time, and I have a feeling the big hype has been around Ballo, Mr. Falarin Balogun, who
he's playing tonight.
I think he starts tonight. I think there's no reason. I think
exciting, man.
I think Gio Reyna probably slots into the midfield. I think you have a front three of Weah, Pulisic, and Balogun. Listen, a guy like that. The U.S. has never in their history had a pure number 9 of his caliber. I think.
Where does he play?
So he's an Arsenal Arsenal product. He was on loan at Rennes and had a pretty damn good season for a team that kind of defied the odds and was scoring more than than the stats essentially said they should be. And yeah, I think Balogun, listen, I know there's a lot to put on a 20-year-old, but like the way he's played, and he's going to make another big move because I don't think he's going to get the starts at Arsenal, and he wants to keep starting, and he's got the talent to start. So, but I think, yeah, the U.S. hasn't had this kind of a number 9 ever in their history. I know we've had some good forwards, but I think in terms of the true number 9, I don't think we've ever had this kind of a player. So it'll be interesting to see if Balogun can produce in a pretty damn big matchup.
Dude, it should be fun, man. It should be fun. Where are you watching it tonight?
I will be going into the city to the AO Philly bar, Top Tomato. So if anyone else is out there, I will be taking the train in about 20 minutes down to was it the 10th and Market, and
guys, forget work, forget school, go watch the U.S. speed up on Mexico. If you're in Vegas, get your umbrellas because I'm sure there's gonna be beer thrown on the pitch.
Yeah, be careful. Like I will say that's a big.
I hope there's no cans. Like it's one, like no one wants to get drained in beer, obviously, but it's one thing getting hit by a can. It's another thing getting hit by like a plastic cup. So let's just make sure we're not throwing cans there. Let's not make sure we're not throwing anything on the pitch. How about that? But you know, it is what it is. But Justin, man, dude, you enjoy tonight, man. Be safe out there as well, man.
I will. It should be a fun time. So we'll see. I'm pretty excited. I love. I love, I've become a sort of bigger part of AO Philly. I do love going out for the games. That's awesome. So it's fun. So I'll have a blast. It'll be fun. So if anyone else is coming out, I will see y'all there.
All right, sounds good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get Justin out of here. That's going to do it for this episode of DOOP by the River. Appreciate you guys tuning on in. If you're watching live on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe for more DOOP by the River live viewings. Follow us here on Twitter on DOOP by the River. Subscribe to wherever you stream podcasts, DOOP by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Justin, Sporting Serotonin Keeper Friedberg. Of course, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on.